10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Welcome to Deep Dive, where we dive deep into geocaching topics. Each episode features in-depth discussions and aims to provide a deeper understanding and appreciation of geocaching and to inspire listeners to explore new aspects of our aspects. That's a hard word. I don't know why. It is tonight. Of our great sport. And with me tonight to help me because I can't talk, we've got Pizza Ninja.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Good, and we got our special guest, KBlast, Brian Klinger.
What's up, guys?
Hey,
There
Brian.
he is. This is going to be a really cool topic we'll get to here in a minute. We got a couple things to note. So I guess we should start with, and I hopefully everybody's ready for this crazy thing here, but let me do this.
Selma PD rocks.
That was it. That's all I could tell you.
What was that?
Put him back for a minute. There he is. Okay, thanks, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Heck yeah, I'm gonna go watch the show now.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. That was it. That was the special news bump. So
Selma PD rocks.
Selma PD rocks, and off we go. So thanks, Tom. We'll see you later, buddy.
See you later.
Take care, Tom. Okay, that was a little bit odd there.
I had no idea what was going on, but hey. Yes, tonight's hashtag is hashtag lab, LAB. Very simple one. But you will be entered to win. I need to pull up a giveaway tool too, because I want to make sure that it works right. Otherwise, for some reason it didn't work as well. I'll pull it up early. So one moment. Just hang with me.
Yeah, and Happy Hodag says we never know what's going on with Electric Water Boy.
It's working. I know nobody ever knows. Yeah. So yeah, hashtag lab. I've got several prizes still. We've got some that are gone, but somebody took the pre-event coins, so they're gone. I still have Bisons. This is for the winners. When I can go back over this with you later too, but I've got Bisons. I've got Caching with Kids. Cool. I've got the second version of the coin is also available. I've got some books. Some of my books are available that I have. The new coin, the coin novel.
And if people want to go with that book option, they can get an autograph, right?
They can. I will autograph it for them.
Very
I actually
cool.
have. I need to bring that up and put up here with the others. I actually have a Gadget Talk one. You don't see those very often anymore.
Ooh.
So that's a possibility for any winner. And of course, you get the deep dive path tag. There's the path tag. So
Man, so
it's
many
cool.
things.
I know, it's so awesome. Okay, into the topic tonight. So Brian contacted me. What was it? About a week ago, Brian?
Yeah, a week or two. Yeah,
Yeah.
right after
And
Woodstock.
Yeah, right after Woodstock. Yeah. Thanks for showing the Woodstock back there. That's cool. And you you mentioned that you had some information about what we originally we kind of, or at least I'm maybe misinterpreted, but we called it Premium Adventure Lab, but I guess we don't really know what to call it. So I guess kind of tell people what's
Sure.
going on.
I can do that. The reason I even brought it up is because I started seeing it as a topic that people were, wondering what was going on with this in the Adventure Lab Facebook groups that I was looking at and in other places.
Right.
They were wondering what is the deal with these lab caches. And then I got some people that were, I have all kinds of stories about it, but overall,
Yeah.
I'm the one that helped
Mhm.
put out the lab caches at Woodstock,
Right.
including a few extra ones that were in Evansville and up in Santa Claus, Indiana. And so there was so much confusion that I was saying, I'm like, hey, do you want me to talk about that? And I did. I said premium lab caches at the time. And then in the process, we were trying to get some other information. And we found out that what we actually put out, their actual name, the ones that were in Evansville and up in Santa Claus, Indiana, they're called sponsored lab caches.
Sponsored, which is going to be right, which we think, well, we'll talk about some of the other ones too, but I did want to mention, so if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Scott wanted to mention about the Bridge Adventure Lab. Did you do that one, Brian?
I did. I was a part of that. And actually Scott put out a great lab cache out there too. He got some of those, and I'll talk about all of that at some point because again, that's another kind of lab cache, the ones that you get at Megas and Gigas and all that kind of stuff. So that's an even different kind of lab cache.
Even different. So Brian and I were talking earlier today, and couple things. One is, if you have a lab and you haven't looked at it lately, you should go take a look, right? Because they've added things. So, and again, we'll get to those. So let's reset for a moment. And I asked our old Chat GC, our AI bot on the inside of the world, about Adventure Labs. He's deep within the AI sphere. And I said, well, what's a premium Adventure Lab? And it struggled with that. And he says, I'll get back to you on that. But he did bring up about Adventure Lab, and it said, is a type of geolocation based game or activity that combines elements of outdoor exploration, puzzle solving, and storytelling. It is a product of Groundspeak. We knew that. The same company behind the popular geocaching game. Adventure Labs provide an interactive and immersive experience where participants follow a series of virtual waypoints or stages to complete a larger adventure. All of it will be, it tends to be wordy. So it went on and on for quite a while, which is fine. It'll all be in the show notes. So you can read about that later. But so obviously all of that is still true, but what are some things that people may not have known that's starting to happen, Brian?
Yeah. So obviously most people by this time at least know about the regular Adventure Labs, the ones that have 5 points and you take people on a little tour of your town, or as Scott, who had a seminar at GeoWoods about upping your Adventure Lab game, and it was actually really cool. Had some cool stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff with these Adventure Labs, and I remember you put on a show once that was talking about things you can do that you didn't even think about doing before.
Yeah, and, with R. Reagan. R. Reagan's another great resource.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
No, most people know those kind of lab caches where you get 5 and you go out and put them out. And a lot of people
Right.
put lab caches out.
Mhm.
These lab caches, they've been going on for a little while. I actually I've been putting them out for Moga for a little while. The ones that you get at mega events where you
Right.
get a certain group of lab caches, and it's changed over the years how many you get. I remember the first time I did it for Moga, it was only 10 lab caches.
Yes.
And then the most recent one at Geo Woodstock, we got 50 lab caches to work with. And these
Yes.
were, so these are event lab caches specifically given to you to provide some kind of activities for a mega, a giga, adventure lab maze, or the maze. Those kinds of things are out there. So now when you go into the back end, you were talking about going in the back end and looking. I put out Moga and it looked normal, like what I was used to.
Right.
And I go into Geo Woodstock and it says these lab caches are for a mega. It specifically writes it in there what they are for, and gives you very specific parameters of what you can and can't do with these. One of the things that it says, and I believe it's actually in the Adventure Labs now too, there's little check boxes that say things like no fees allowed. I know that mine said that for the Giga Mega lab caches, no fees allowed.
And you're saying you have to actually check that to.
No, it actually it's checked for you. It says
Okay, gotcha.
It gives you information, so it tells you the name of what kind of lab cache you have, and then underneath it gives you the requirements for it. And one of them says no fees.
Yeah,
but it also
so completely
says,
different. Yeah,
it also says physical caches are allowed for these.
Not, and most people think of, when you say that, they think of a bonus cache. Oh, I can do a bonus cache on an Adventure Lab. No, this is different now. You could actually do physical stages of a mega or giga, whatever, you get the idea. Or
So just for an event cache, you're saying those,
right?
Okay,
and it says very clearly on there what you can and can't do. So that is important for you to look at when you're looking at your Adventure Labs. You know, am I allowed to actually put a physical container at one of my lab stops? And I looked at my Adventure Labs. I have a personal one that I'm still holding on to that's got 5 in it, and it says no physical containers on it now.
Right, which is fascinating because last year for Cache Fest, we did the same thing. You get 50, and Scott pointed out it's 5 Adventure Labs with 50 locations. I think it's, and this is the thing I think maybe was, and I went to go find it. You and I talked earlier today about Conroe, and maybe somebody who went to the Conroe one could confirm with me, but I could have sworn that we had an Adventure Lab that was 12 stages. I thought it was 12 or 13. So I'm wondering, and Scott may be able to answer this question, was that if you only put 8, say, on one of your labs and you put 12 on another one, is that, as long as it adds up to 50, maybe? I don't know.
I know that for me, when I did Moga and Woodstock this year, when you got to 10, you were done. There was no...
Right. I'm wondering if you ask them, because like you said, we got our allotment, and then we did them all the 10. We did the 10 in various locations. We did the one during the concert. We did a 10 stage where we had the lead singer give out
Jason
clues.
Foray band, right?
Yeah, the Jason Foray band. And so that was kind of clever. I think it was kind of clever. But again, it's interesting because we were not sure that we were going to be allowed to do it. We did it anyway. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. Houston, Texas, Dave. Yeah. 12-stage adventure.
Interesting.
Fascinating. So they must have asked, like you said, Brian, they had to have asked, because it doesn't come that way. It comes standard. So that is interesting. If you're doing a mega, you might want to ask them if you could do a 12 stage if you want one like that. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I'm
John.
wondering though, to dig in on this one, physical. Why do you think the difference between event and the just normal run of the mill adventure lab? Why that difference, do you think?
So I'm actually going to hit on what I believe, because, and it's partially because of what Gary just said from when you did Cache Fest Memphis. I went and did those lab caches, and I thought they were cool. I thought they were fun. To me, at a mega event, a giga event, people are coming to do something special. And I think it's actually this. I take this very seriously. I consider it a big responsibility when I do the lab caches at these places. I want to give people something different, something special, something exciting. We did a show one time about the augmented reality from back at Woodstock in 2018.
Yes.
Things that I always want to provide something that's not what you will always see anywhere else. And so to me, that's part of allowing for a physical container, allows for some things that you couldn't do. Because I've done some at Moga before where I put something physical at the location. I had a few years ago, I had a Bigfoot chase, and there's not an actual Bigfoot that I found. At least I wasn't able to speak to him personally.
At least not that day.
Not that.
Yeah, not that time.
So I went and found a toy Bigfoot and hung it from a tree and put a little word on his foot, kind of a thing.
Right.
Which is
That's
not
cool.
allowed in a regular adventure lab. But
Yes.
because I was trying to create something special, something unique, that was what I did. That was one of the things that I've done with physical containers
Right.
at a mega.
It interesting. Yes. Yeah. And people are talking about how they're less permanent. And, Scott mentioned it's got a 3-week limitation, which is why I couldn't find it. I went back and looked. It's like, darn it. And then I thought, oh, yeah, it's gone. It's not there anymore. But fortunately, Houston, Texas Dave confirmed that it was a 12. So, yeah. And that's something, too. Another thing to do, go back and listen to that one about augmented reality. That's a topic that needs to probably be addressed again with Brian. Is like, what are we going to, what's the future? But also it reminds me, Brian, of when we talked about the cache that you did. It was like the greatest adventure you did. It's like, that's the point that when we talked about that show and what you had to do that cache is sort of the encapsulated reason as to why we love geocaching, because you went on one of the greatest adventures to try to find that cache. So,
and like at Scott's at his seminar that he did, he started off and said, when geocaches were first hidden, they were a bucket in the woods somewhere, and just the fact that you could find this was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And adventure labs have kind of started to go through that process too. Geocaches started to switch to, let's do a multi, let's add a puzzle to it, let's add this, and it evolved into something bigger. And I think adventure labs are starting to do that, and we're going to start seeing it continue to expand as people push limits. And I think one of the places you push limits is at a mega event or a giga event where it's not permanent. It's only for 3 weeks, and you can try it out and you can say, was this cool? Was this fun? What did people think of this? And then it allows for things to evolve and become like that big adventure that I had, that the Pandora's Box was the name of that.
Yes. Yeah. Pandora's Box.
Pandora's Box. And then over on the West Coast, you can have this cache when you pry it from My Cold Dead. Those kinds of cache experiences are amazing.
Another great one. Yes.
And for me, I'm trying to always provide that with my lab caches, something. Now, sometimes, and it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants crazy, hard, difficult. That was one of the things at Geo Woodstock. I went through, and I am a bit dangerous with this, where because I wear my heart on my sleeve a little bit sometimes, and
I hear you.
I'm the kind of guy that I want everyone to love everything that I put out. And it's
I'm
funny.
with you.
It's funny because at Woodstock, I specifically made 10 that were chasing down Bigfoot. And you had to
Right.
drive around to all of these locations
Right.
that Bigfoot was sighted in Owensboro.
Okay.
But I put all of that information in the description. How many people read descriptions?
Right.
What ended up happening is people are like, why did you take me here? And asked me a question that I had to look up on the internet. And my response was, because there's no Bigfoot sign that says Bigfoot was sighted here, and they don't put those out. And I told people it was in the description. Like, I never even looked. People hated driving to all these parks and going all over the place, and wrote all these comments about that was a lot of driving for nothing, blah, 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 blah. But then there were people who loved it, who
Yes.
said, my kid loves Bigfoot. It was so cool coming
It's
and
an
seeing it.
adventure.
We may have seen it. But then on the other side, my bridge, I like calling it my bridge, but it's not
Yes.
but the
That's okay.
Owensboro Bridge, when people found that one, it was on purpose 10 easy smileys.
Right.
And there were people that wrote, man, this was too easy. This was dumb. I did it from up in my room, and this was why was this even a thing? This really ticked me. Like there were all kinds of
Oh my
comments.
gosh.
And then there were people that thought it was super cool. So it was this. It's funny because no matter what you do, there are those that are going to love it and those that don't. And I think that that's one of the things that lab caches need to have eventually is the ability to separate and go, this is this kind of lab cache. This is going to be this kind of lab cache. I love that. Bring on the crazy adventures. I want to know this lab cache is going to be a crazy adventure, or this lab cache is a quick, I'm going to get 5 easy smileys from here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's one of the things we did. And I think I never really heard any kind of backlash. I'm sure there is as B&J Bish, that's funny. They changed it. That's husband and wife. They can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
We did these real simple, but they were fun. They were supposed to be like, they were trivia for Kansas, and we put them all around, Flamingo. We did them in Colby, the closest town. You want to call, if you want to call Colby is not a city, trust me, but it's a fun little town. And we put all these, like you said, we put all these adventure labs, and you could do them. I mean, you could do them from your hotel room pretty much, but it was meant to be like, oh, I never knew that. You're in Kansas. It's like a Kansas trivia. It's like reading a book of trivia about Kansas. And that was the point. And I think that there are times when those work. But I think there are also times when you can kind of go to a different level. I won't say next level, because I think the trivia ones are they are what they are. But I think that, like I said, check with our Reagan. KBlast has a lot of them too, that some ideas where you can take it to a different level. Is that a good way to put it, I guess?
Yes. And I really think that gigas, megas, that kind of thing is where you want to start seeing that. And I think that that's what's a lot of fun for me when I put these out and I start creating them. I stop and I think, I'm going to try to please this subgroup with this group of caches. These are the people that want to go out in the parks, that want to see the cool things. The swinging bridges in Owensboro are fantastic. I think they're beautiful. And so that was a big part of the Bigfoot thing. Whereas some people just want to sit back and enjoy and just get 10 quick smileys. We tried to make a variety because Scott was doing his seminar. I gave him 10 because I said, you're doing a seminar on adventure labs. you should
Yeah.
put out 10 adventure labs that go with your seminar.
Go to
And
seminar, right?
Yeah,
I
great way
love
to do it.
doing his adventure labs. I thought they were really cool. They had
Yeah.
some logic puzzles you had to solve. They had all kinds of things. It was stepping, and you had to stop and remember to put the keyword first, and all these
Right.
things that he put in there that I thought were fun. But I read through his comments too, and there were some people who are like, it was way too hot, and I had to stand in the sun and figure out logic. And
Oh, good grief.
You know what though? I like the comments a few people made on here because like Lori, they need DT ratings because
We
you know
agree.
let's face it. I mean, there's a difference between a 5-5 cache and a 1-1, and the
Mhm.
type of experience. And some people,
Because if you
1-1.
knew, yeah, you're right, John. If you knew ahead of time,
what's funny is I think geocaching tried to do that, where they give you the little check boxes where you can choose up to 3 things.
oh yeah,
That like this is a hiking tour, this is a driving tour. I think geocaching tried to do that, but once again, who reads the descriptions?
right.
Yeah. I'll tell
Yeah.
you though, I think people would if there was a better way to do it, because I mean, even if you think of an accessible adventure lab, what's an accessible adventure lab? So if you're thinking something equivalent 1-1, flat terrain on this one, easygoing, I think a lot of times, and I mean, this is maybe just me, but like when you're getting in the caches that blow your mind initially, like the LPCs, all of that jazz, and then you get into it and it's kind of more of like a fine wine type of experience where you want to get into something a little bit more sophisticated,
Right.
and it blows your mind, and you're willing to allocate that time, and you're willing to do that nuts thing. Like, most people, if you say for your first cache, do you want to do a 5-5 night cache? People are probably going to be like, what the heck are you doing on that one?
Yeah.
But
What are you talking about?
yeah, but that's, I think though, it's still the unexpected experience of an adventure lab and what's involved.
Yeah, I do really want there to be DT terrain. We're not really going to talk about that tonight because it's not really what tonight's about. But did one. Some of us can't walk as far as others, and although I'm getting better at being able to go a little further, but it was a lot of walking that wasn't like Brian doing the Rose Bowl parade for 7 miles, but it was, yeah. So that's smart. So Lori puts on there. So Lori, I think she did that. That's the name of it. So she actually put it in the title. So that's not a bad idea for everyone, is just to do it yourself. Just, I'll give you the DT rating, that kind of thing. That's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart, Lori. Lori's always good she always has great ideas. One
thing that I think, and this goes back to what the show is about. We've so far been talking about the Mega Giga and all that. The sponsored lab caches.
Yeah,
that's another thing that there's. Sorry, I actually forgot one too. Featured lab caches is another type.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the 3 types that are different from our typical adventure lab are the Mega Giga maze, the sponsored, and the featured.
Okay.
I have not done, personally, I haven't put out any featured or done a featured yet, but those are the ones that if you look, I know one of them is at Kennywood. That's the one I always give people. So if you're wanting to find one, Kennywood, and I've heard that there's some like around DC, they are purple instead of the typical green.
Oh, I've seen that on the map.
Yeah.
Is it
You're
Kennywood?
saying
like
Kennywood
that?
in Pittsburgh, right?
Like that? That's spelled wrong?
I thought it was in Tennessee, but it may be.
Oh, okay. Because I think there's a Kennywood amusement park, I think around Pittsburgh.
I don't remember exactly where it was. I thought it was the one in Tennessee. I could be wrong. But anyway, I always do a search for Kennywood, and then it takes me to that, and then there's the purple standing out. So that's what a featured lab is. And I can't speak a lot to that because I just know that, hey, there's a purple dot there. But I can speak to what a sponsored lab cache is.
We'll definitely talk about those because I think that is something that people have sort of heard about, but they're not sure about them. So talk a little bit about what a sponsored one is.
This is something that's come up in like the past couple months. It's a
Okay.
really new thing, and it's people who partner. And AFK Geocaching is the one that partnered at this point with Groundspeak to get these 3 adventure labs sponsored. And one of the things that I had to do when I put it out was in the main description, I had to include, this is a partner with Groundspeak. This is what we're doing. And in those cases, it's where you can place 10 adventure labs in a place that charges a fee.
I found one, by the way.
And it actually says on the little cache thing, when you go to build your adventure lab, it says fees allowed.
Oh.
And because it's such a new thing, people don't realize it. And this was one of my frustrations. And I know that it's being worked on, but people are coming in and saying, I don't think it's fair that the fees that I have to pay a fee. I didn't think that was allowed. And actually I had a few people come up and say that they reported it to Groundspeak. They didn't know that I put it out. They said, yeah, I reported that to Groundspeak because they couldn't do that. And I said, well, it was me. And I actually was happy that they did because that lets Groundspeak know that there's some confusion still out there.
Sure.
Because they look like every other adventure lab. They just look like a green pin. And
yeah, I was going to show the ones I found in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
You can see it looks blue on here, but they're purple. It's just weird how the camera did that, but you get the idea. Those, you can see the, you can see that one listed there. Ooh. Focus. Trying to, oh, well, you get the idea. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm glad you're showing them that. So the sponsored ones just look like green pins like all the others. They say that there's 10 lab caches in there. And I actually went to all 3 of the locations and worked with the park. So one of them was an LST 325 ship from World War II.
Okay.
And it's a tour that you pay money to get on the tour. And then they guide you through. And at each stop, they actually... I had just like a regular adventure lab asking a question. And in that case, they actually said, well, these are things that we're going to say on the tour. Include this as one of the questions. And so that was one example. Another one was the zoo in Evansville. You actually got to go around, and I went with the park manager. He took me around to like the 10 best spots in the zoo to show off the entire, like if you want to show off the entire zoo, go to all these places.
Right. That's cool.
Finally, up in Santa Claus, they have the Holiday World, and they didn't even come with me. They sent me a map. They had a map ready for me, and I went in and they said, these are the most popular things. And they actually gave me the description to go with it. They said, this is why this is so special. And I thought, this is awesome. This is exactly what we want, because we want them to feature their park.
It's like a partnership.
Want them to show off what's cool about their thing. And I think that there's I think the confusion, again, people want to go get all of the caches.
Sure.
I want to go get all the lab caches. And I saw some people for Holiday World, they're like, yeah, I paid $75 to get 10 lab caches. Actually, you paid $75 to get into a park where they have amusement rides. And for me, I live in Columbus, Ohio, and we have one of the most amazing zoos. And I go in there all the time, and I'm like, man, it would be cool if I could geocache in here while I was at the zoo. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sponsored caches are meant to be, is I'm going to the zoo, and the cherry on top is I get to go do 10 lab caches around here. And hopefully, if they do what I was doing, they are highlighting things that you may not have seen otherwise.
Right.
They're taking you to special places around the zoo. Like if I did that, I would go to the Columbus Zoo and I would say, hey, where do people need to see? Which is what I did at those 3 places.
So I'm wondering, the question that comes to my mind is, if I know of a place that is really cool, that I don't know, Cowboy Hall of Fame or something. I'm trying to, because that's Oklahoma City, but it's really cool. A lot of neat things inside there. Would I approach HQ after I've already approached the Hall of Fame and said, "Hey, we might be able to do, and explain what Adventure Lab is," and they're like, "Oh, we'd be really cool." Can you then talk to HQ and say, "Can we get them a sponsored Adventure Lab?"
I would, based on what my experience with what AFK went through for this,
Yeah.
they got the partnership first. So they went to HQ, talked to HQ, got the ability to get the sponsored Adventure Labs, and I know there was some kind of fee involved with that too. I'm not sure all the details with that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I would say you want to partner first. Find out whether you can partner. I'm not sure what HQ put them through to make that happen. And I know there's more people than them. I'm just speaking from my experience. I know that there was a whole process that they went through to be able to even put these out. And it's so new. Who knows what will happen? 5 months from now, it may become a thing where anyone can go and say, "Hey, I'd like to do this. How do I partner?" But I would say definitely partner first with HQ and say, "I want to do this."
Yeah.
And then go to the cool place that you want to do it, because that's the order that we did it in.
Makes
and
sense.
You're saying on that, Brian. So does there need to be a documented from the organization? We provide permission to have this here, or what does that kind of documentation look like?
So the 3 places that we did it, we contacted the places, contacted whoever was in charge of facing the people, the people who deal with the public relations.
Mm-hmm.
We contacted them. We said, we want to do this. It was funny because I was driving from Evansville to Holiday World because I had to hurry up and do this. And Holiday World, I didn't know they closed at 6 p.m. And I was on the road, and I'm at 4, and it's an hour drive. So I'm like, I have 1 hour to find 10 spots. And so I called our contact at Holiday World and was on the phone with them. And it was funny because I was speaking to a different person than we had originally discussed it. And they're like, "So you're coming into our park to find a place to hide a cache? We're going to find a little place to put a box?" And because that's what they understood geocaching to be. So then I had to sit and explain to them, "No, we're taking them to some place to show off your stuff. We're going to ask them a question. They just have to answer it. There's no physical container that we're going to put here." And so I had to then talk them through all of that and explain the process that was necessary. And then once I was able to give them that, that's when they said, "Oh, well, let me give you a map. Let me give you this information."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
okay.
they were really, really incredible at that point to then speak to me and help me create a really cool experience when you're in the park.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I see Scott's comment on here too, saying about explaining the setup on that one. So actually, then you're saying there is a fee. You have to sign a contract as well too onto that.
Oh, okay, cool. Sign a contract. Okay. Oh, and then COVID hit. Yeah. So so Scott, so there's a possibility that they sort of reworked it again recently, since we're kind of, for the most part, out of that world, I guess. That may be. So yeah, well, KC11, I see your, if I don't have $75, I won't do the AL in the theme park. Well, that's true. I mean, like Brian said, I mean, you want to know, you kind of have to go into it knowing what you're getting into. I mean, we kind of think about, I guess when you think of this, and correct me, you two, if you think I'm thinking of this wrongly, but I'm thinking, when you see a purple one, think of it the opposite. When I usually think of a normal Adventure Lab, I'm like, I'm gonna go to the Adventure Lab, and if there's something cool there, I might do it too. Versus sponsor be like, no, I'm gonna need to want to go to this place, Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, whatever is available. And then on top of that, the cherry is the sponsored lab. So
That's exactly how I think it should be.
mhm.
Yeah, I think that makes
Yeah.
total sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I like
dollar
I
sign.
agree. There needs to be some kind of way to delineate so people can know. I totally agree with people that are.
especially for those of us who are colorblind and may not be able to tell otherwise.
Your hat's blue. I thought I'd let you know. Just
Okay,
FYI.
okay.
It's not
Matches
red
my
like
eyes, Gary.
it does.
Okay.
But yeah, so
When I
yeah,
was doing I was in Evansville area, and we were doing a Where I Go, and it was funny. We're doing this long Where I Go along the riverfront, and we get to the final, and there's someone else standing there, and he says, "It's right there. Did you find it? It's right there." And I'm like, "Whoa!" And it was somebody that I knew from West Virginia, and so we just happened to land there, and he's the one that said he reported it. And the as I'm talking to him, there's just so much confusion. And what I said was, this is part of the struggle of being a beta tester.
yes.
You know, when you're one of the first ones out of the gate doing something new, you start to find out what some of the hiccups are, what some of the things are that they need. And I think that comes with the territory. And I don't actually have a problem with that, because I think it helps push everything to the next level. Like we were talking about, I want to be able to push things to the next level. I'm always looking for, how can I make something cool? How can I make something different? How can I change and add something that wasn't there before?
Absolutely. Let me bring up. I found it, and now I've not found it. Okay, we're gonna move.
Are you DNFing something you found, Gary?
I might have DNF'd it. No, it's here. It's here. Where is it now?
Oh man, I've asked that question many times. We'll
Well,
catch
while
it.
you're looking, can I throw out something?
Yes, go
So,
for it.
Over my shoulder here, you see the little bridge. I kind of put that purposely, because that was my big moment. I wanted something different. And it was really cool. The city partnered with us.
Oh, that's very cool.
That bridge lights up at night and does a light show, about a 15-minute light show. They did it over Memorial Day, so it was all red, white, and blue. But for 2 minutes, they gave us orange, yellow, green, blue.
That's awesome.
They turned the bridge those colors to say, hey, here comes the geocaching part. And then my adventure lab it flashed Morse code.
Oh, that is so cool.
The bridge flashed Morse code, red, white, and blue. And just partnering with the city to be able to do that was amazing. And it's the kind of thing that most people aren't able to do. And I am just incredibly privileged to have gotten lucky enough to get a team of people. And the people on the bridge, they were amazing. They worked with me 2 years ago at Moga, and then they said, let's do something even cooler this time. And so it was, I was trying to come up with this like really discreet way to do Morse code. They're like, now let's just do dots and dashes. And they literally flash. It was so cool. Finally seeing it in place. And I'm already, this quick shameless plug. I'm doing Moga next year here in Columbus. And I've already, because I live in Columbus, I usually have to go other places 300 miles to do the stuff. I'm here in the city. I've already got some things in the works for next April.
Very cool.
Brand new, totally different. I'm not going to spill the beans. I'll save that, leave that for someone else someday.
Wait.
Oh no, Gary just spilled.
Brian just spilled the beans. No, I'm kidding.
But I do. I have some really cool things that I'm hoping. I know have never happened before, and I'm really pumped about what we're going to be doing with that.
So you're going to come back on a future show to spill the beans, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. We have Brian on all the time, man. I love Brian. So, for example, I don't know. Now, we did this at CacheFest last year, and we'll go into a lot because we've already talked about it before. But the idea of an interactive adventure lab, and we're going to do it again in CacheFest for Memphis. Last time Memphis, by the way. So if you're thinking I'm going to go to CacheFest Memphis next year, you'll be like, nope. There is no Cash Fest Memphis. It'll be Cash Fest. I can't tell you. I can't spill that bean. But anyway, but the idea, and we talked about this. Brian and John both know that 99 out of 100 people that did it, I think, were, well, I know that people I talked to were very happy with the idea that you had actors and then you had to go ask the actors. It was a museum heist, and so you had to go to the different people dressed up as actors, and you had to ask them questions and kind of go, where were you? You know, were you, you know, when the museum piece was taken, you know, where were you at? And we all had a script that we would work with. I had, like I said, of the 100 people or whatever that did it, I think I had one person, maybe there was one or two at the most, who came up and said, what's the answer? And I was like, and I would go into my spiel, because I was an actor. I had a script. I mean, if you saw Joshua, geocaching vlogger, the dude was selling insurance, and he was selling it. I mean, he was going to sell you.
He was going hardcore, man.
He was hardcore.
He almost signed me up for three policies, including a cash DNF policy.
Did he really? See, he was selling you.
Yeah,
that's good.
He was good. He was slick.
So
see, and I went around and did that. I loved it. I actually, for Moga, I was considering doing that, something similar,
right?
Giving you all, like, I got this idea from Cash Fest.
Oh no, you don't have to give us credit, but yeah,
it ended up the place that we wanted to do it. It was outside, and Michigan in April was a little scary. So we ended up putting the kibosh on that. But I thought it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed walking around and trying to figure out how to ask the right question to get the word that I needed, how to pull that off. I thought that was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to Cash Fest this year.
Yes,
I'm really pumped. I got a chance to go. I finally just this week got my booked my reservation.
That's awesome.
At the hotel. Really pumped about that, and pumped about the cruise. I'm excited about all the things that are going to happen there.
Yeah, that's where the interactive adventure lab will be on the cruise. So if you're coming to Cash Fest, make sure you get your paddle boat tickets and come join us and find the actors. And that's all. I can't go into more detail, but anyway. But what's interesting was, and I want to move on because I got a couple other questions for you guys. In that when it was done, I did go talk to Alaki. We had JT Coffee there, Jesse Maxwell, and I said, "So, what'd you think?" You know, because I was like, as Tom said earlier, is like, ask for, you know, you don't ask for permission, you beg for forgiveness, you know, and I wanted to know kind of what her thought was, because I thought, oh, she's gonna, you know, what. But she said, this is incredible. I'm going to tell everybody about it. We need to do this some more. So it's like, oh, so apparently we did something okay. It is completely unconventional, because if you weren't at the museum for the event, you didn't do that adventure lab. But I think now people realize that adventure labs can be so many different things. Mm-hmm. Is that, and I did find the site, by the way. So let me add this. So if you go to the Smithsonian's website, they talk about the adventure lab that's there. Cool. So if you want to go check that out later, I'll put the link. I'll go copy the link and put it in the show notes. But I mean, I think that's cool that they talk about it. They tell you more about it. They tell you how to get, you know, start your adventure, downloading the everything. But do you think that we're going to see more of these kind of things, or do you think it's going to be successful?
I think it's a great opportunity to be able to put caches and create experiences within really cool places. We have some plans for Moga to do that when that comes to town. Some really amazing places that cost money to get in. We're hoping to be able to do some of that kind of stuff here next year, because you can't put a cache in there. You can't just hide a container down there. I hope that this becomes a thing, but I also hope that it becomes more clear and people can then separate it out and go, all right, that one is for when I decide to go to the zoo. That one is for when I decide to go to the amusement park. That one is for when I decide to go to take that tour, that historical tour.
Right.
I wonder, because a few things. So, because one of the things that was incredible at Cash Fest, I mean, just, people waiting in line, some people paying, and then just being, I'm a geocacher. And they go, oh, come on in for free, no big deal. And that was really cool.
I like that part. We got them to do that.
I mean, that was awesome. I know even for a vault key, I hid one in Jamestown, New York at the Comedy Center, the National Comedy Center, which is such a cool place. And you're making me think about this type of thing there too. But I know when I was talking to them, it was right by ASP GeoBash, and they ended up giving like a 20% off code for any geocachers, coming through that weekend. So I also kind of wonder if there's like a sponsor type of thing. Would they give a discount for geocachers to kind of help incentivize? And I don't know if that's something, Brian, you've explored yet, or you think that may be possible.
We are specifically exploring that for Moga. I actually have a phone call with a couple places next week that we're trying to get that worked out for some, in exchange for us advertising your place, sponsoring your place. Will you give us discounted tickets during this time period, this short time period when we have, hundreds of people in town? And plus you got hundreds of people coming to your place that wouldn't have come otherwise.
Exactly.
And I think that it's a great partnership and a great possibility. They're excited. One of the places, I don't want to spill the beans, but
it's okay.
One of the places that
and you can spill the beans. We'd be fine with that.
I think
go ahead. I got.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
But I literally talked to him today. I got sent an email and we set up a meeting for Monday to be able to discuss, what's the trade-off going to be? How's this going to work so that we can both benefit from this? I think geocachers can benefit, and
Absolutely.
This company that is going to get tons of people through its doors that wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, I think there's times, and something that I really encourage geocachers to do, and that is what WV Tim and others have sort of pioneered, which is bounce. I mean, I went and did all of when I was up in Washington. I got basically I got escorted. So this was really great, man.
That is sweet.
I tell you, man, that's nothing better. Being escorted to bounce geocaches. But every one of his caches are at a business. So there's something, he's got something that I think many people fail to realize, which is so many of those, A, create multiple favorite points if you're into that. B, you've got people who are going to experience something that they normally wouldn't experience. And like you said, Brian, we already, in a sense, do that on a micro level where we'll say, because I'm sure we have. We've all been to places where we find the geocache and then we look around going, oh, I had no idea this was here. And you're like, oh, this is cool. I always talk about the locks, the lock system in Oklahoma, of all places, that we found. We didn't know. You go down a nondescript road, and all of a sudden you're at a river, and you start looking around, and there's like locks, like they literally have locks on the river, like you would like the Panama Canal. You're like, why we never found this? And they have an observatory there, and all this. It's like there's no signs, but the thing about an adventure lab though is if it doesn't fit to put a geocache at a location, if you have one, or if you can, and there's ways to get adventure labs, but those are possibilities where you're like, oh, let me change gears with you, owner, and let's talk about a possibility of doing an adventure lab, which is, well, we think of them all virtual. So in a virtual, a set of virtuals might fit more perfectly at some of these places where you're like, let's sort of figure out a way to stick in a geocache, and it doesn't really fit, and it doesn't, it's like, so there are, I think, there's other possibilities that we can look into and we could all kind of maybe keep our eyes open for things like that.
And that's I'm actually this summer, all of my plans with my wife changed. We do an anniversary trip, but
Yep.
we're heading to all of the megas on our side of the country. So I'm hitting New Jersey next week. I'm hitting Cache Fest. I'm going down to going caching. I'm going up to the one in Wisconsin, Midwest Geobash. And I'm excited because I'm going to see what they're doing with their adventure labs, so that I can then go, all right, what's the next step? Or what did they do that was so cool? I want to provide it for Moga next year, or for some other thing in the future. What are some things that are pushing things to the next level? And I'm excited to see that.
That is awesome. Yeah, we had our good friends from Going Caching came to Cache Fest last year, and they came to the museum in there in Memphis, and they go, yeah, I think we could work something out for Going Caching. I go, man, go for it. That was the idea, was to spread. Again, we didn't want credit. We just wanted the idea to sort of propagate, hopefully. So, we appreciate that.
And that's the one thing. Just every time I put out lab caches, I want people to have an amazing experience. It's not about, hey, look what KBlast did. I'm thrilled and I'm flattered, but I am all about what kind of experience, and I think that's what megas should be. What kind of experience did you provide for the people who took their vacation time and went all the way out here to see this thing that you did? What did you provide that was special and different and exciting? And I think that's what I'm always trying to do when I'm building this stuff.
Man, that's perfect. All right, we're going to wrap up. John, I'm going to get the final word from you as well, but to let people know, I put it in the chat room, but to remind people, #lab is for the giveaway tonight. So make sure you put in, you only put it once because it's working tonight. So like last week, we had to please do it a second time, but it's working. So if you put it in #lab, you will be entered in to win one of the prizes that we have here for you from the Sunken Treasure Vault. So,
oh man,
I know. Ooh.
So many good prizes too.
From the depths. Yes, we have lots of cool.
I'll tell
prizes,
you, the Sunken Treasure chest, Gary. I mean, just the prizes keep on getting better and better on this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For my thoughts, I mean, Brian, I think an awesome thing always about the geocaching community is how we inspire others, and when you talk to people like, the gears are turning in my head as you were talking tonight, thinking like, what can I do here? What can I do there? And I think that's one of the coolest things, just like the creativity, the ingenuity of everybody out there on that side. And the future of geocaching. I mean, what a cool thing to think of on that front too. How does the game change? How do we do what we do? Even thinking about this one, kind of that sponsored like partnership attribute kind of thing. Because I mean, even I think when Gary and I were talking on a show about partnership attribute, I think there was less than 10 caches in the world with that attribute.
Yep.
But just to think, is this also opening up the doors on that side, maybe to something like that coming back for traditional physical caches as well too?
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thought. I can't wait to see what comes on that front.
Excellent. Yeah. So let's do the giveaway real quick, and then Brian, I want to get also a final word from you, sir. As we wrap up, some last minute inspiration there. So think about that, and I'm going to bring up the giveaway tool. So we'll do that afterwards. So, all right, last chance. I'm going to hit the button. So if you haven't put it in, that won't work. And somebody said also they wanted to know, John, if your background is because of the wildfire smoke. So.
Oh man, yeah. So where I live, again, halfway about between like Erie, Pennsylvania and Buffalo, New York, it's just like it's hazy out there, and and it's literally crazy. Our water system where I live too was having issues, so it's like, okay, the air is bad to breathe and the water's not safe to drink. So it's sounds like a movie in the making, right? With that kind of line on that side, but
Absolutely.
it'll
That's
get
crazy.
better. It'll get better.
I hope
for sure.
Yeah, I hope it clears up for you. And I noticed everybody did hashtag lab, but what was funny was I also saw GCD Scale Limited hashtag poodle. That won't work either, my friend. Sorry. But anyway, I know he did it the other way too. So all right. Let's spin the wheel. See what happens. See who wins this thing. So here we go. I'm hitting the draw button. There they go. There's all the names. Spinning.
Oh man, who's it gonna be?
Who's gonna win tonight? Oh,
Oh,
hashtag poodle must have won, apparently.
they found the hack that if you put in hashtag poodle, you will win automatically.
Yeah, they found the hack. Apparently, hashtag poodle worked. No, it did
It's
not
like a
work.
bypass code.
Put in hashtag lab because I have to put it in. Yeah, so just for people to wonder, that is all I have is a draw. I hit the button. I can do it twice, or I can do it multiple times, or I can put in what the hashtag was. And one night we did it without anything, which is kind of a cool way to do it, I guess. I don't know. We haven't really asked the chat room any time about. I like having a kind of a themed hashtag is kind of fun. So anyway, all right, contact me. Send an email to geocachetalk@gmail.com, and we'll get you set up with the prize. So, all right. So, Brian, final words from you. Thoughts, outrage, fits of anger, whatever you like to do.
No, it's just the one thing that keeps coming back to my mind is if everything is epic and amazing, then nothing is epic and amazing.
True.
So there have to be some caches that are, light posts. I went and did about 5 or 6 of those today. I went out and just did a quick run in the area. There's a reason that you only have favorites 1 out of every 10. What makes it special? What makes it that 1 out of 10? Because there are a lot of people who will make the other 9. And they'll say, I want to just do a quick walking tour. I want to do a quick trivia questions. And those are fine. Those are all good. I enjoy them. I went out and I go out and I do them too. But I'm always looking for that awesome adventure, that awesome thing. And I challenge everyone who gets particularly megas, gigas, all that kind of stuff to really push the envelope and do something. And then when you go and see that, what can you do? What can you do as a cacher with your regular adventure lab to make it special and different and awesome? Always be looking for those things to take us to the next level.
Absolutely. Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you for tonight. It was incredibly enlightening. It's got me fired up for doing more. Do the research, plan it, and put out some cool adventure labs. So
Absolutely.
And we will see everybody. Sunday will be a gadget talk. So and I guess maybe more clues from the crazy man who came around earlier. Maybe not. We don't know.
Yeah, that was kind of bizarre. Still, I still
weird.
don't know what to think.
I don't know, and I don't know. I have to talk afterward about how you're going to share that with the world. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But so he's here in the chat room. No actual private rigging was done. I guess for the giveaway. So. All right. Again, Brian, thank you so much, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you in Memphis soon. And that'll be it for tonight. So good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Have a good one.
We'll see you next time.